Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Clayton. I just got back from seeing Logan Lucky, directed by Steven Soderbergh and starring Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, Daniel Craig, Hilary Swank, and Sebastian Stan. Now, this is a heist movie that happens to be very uncharacteristic of a typical heist film, but it also makes it one of the more unique films of the summer that you should definitely watch. But let's get to the story, shall we? The story takes place in West Virginia and is about a man named Jimmy Logan, who formerly was a man who was destined for the NFL, however, an injury caused him to be a blue-collar worker who recently lost his job as a construction worker. He decides to get a large sum of money to pay off his debts, and in order to help out his life by stealing a huge sum of money from underneath a race car track that he worked on as a construction worker. And he recruits his one-armed brother Clyde, played by Adam Driver, his sister Melly, and also an explosives expert named Joe Bang, played by Daniel Craig. They end up having to steal the money during a NASCAR race, and that's basically the premise of the movie. It's a big heist film that's set during a NASCAR race, done by people from West Virginia. And with that kind of premise, it actually does work pretty well, as it doesn't feel like just Ocean's 11, but with Western Virginia rural American folk. It actually does manage to tell a very heartwarming story, considering you actually feel for Jimmy Logan, and you do want to see him succeed. You get the sense that he's a guy who has everything taken away from him, that he really does deserve to get certain things out of his life, even if he's doing criminal acts in order to do it. You get the sense that these people are desperate, that they are doing this for the right reasons. You could say doing the wrong thing for the right reasons. And the characters themselves are likable, but what puts them to the next level is the actors who portray them. Channing Tatum and Adam Driver have great chemistry with each other, and their scenes are often very well handled, as you get a sense of the brotherly bond between them. Daniel Craig is very entertaining as Joe Bang, as he mixes humor and some legit insight from Craig when it comes to making Joe Bang an interesting person. And surprisingly, I even found Seth MacFarlane really funny, as a character named Max with an over-the-top British accent, and him just being a despicable jackass. Considering I usually hate Seth MacFarlane, it's rather surprising to see him in a role that I found entertaining. Steven Soderbergh, like I said, also directed the Ocean's 11 movies, so when it comes to making a heist film, he definitely knows how to set one up. And without spoiling anything, the heist that's pulled off in this film is so well thought out that you would be forgiven for thinking that it was the actual Ocean's 11 crew that pulled it off. And you get the sense that the people involved are not the stereotypical Western Virginia rednecks that you and several other characters in the film would think they'd be. You get the sense that their appearances can be very deceiving. Also, it's just a very funny film, considering that there were several scenes that made me laugh, whether it was because of the snappy dialogue or whether it was because of the various comedic performances by the actors, particularly from Craig and MacFarlane. And heck, the film doesn't even feel like it's that long. It's 2 hours long, but it goes along at such a brisk pace, and it happens to handle all of its plot points so well, to the point where you don't even really think it's going that long. And the last thing I'll say is the ending of the film is very well handled, considering it happens to... nothing feels left out, and every single character feels like it has his or her arc completed, and the film ends on a note that's heartwarming, but also makes sense given the story they're telling. So, Logan Lucky is a surprisingly good film that I didn't expect much out of, but I got a lot out of. So I'll give Logan Lucky a 9 out of 10. Please see it. See you next time.